Hi, I'm Dave Bergstrom, pastor of Avondale Presbyterian Church. When we face a trial, we should ask God for wisdom. And we can ask God for deliverance from that trial. James chapter 1, 5-8 says, "If any one of you lack wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do." Now that's an awesome passage of Scripture. When we need wisdom to go through a trial, God simply says, "Ask me," and He will instruct us. He loves to give us His wisdom. You might say, well, can I ask God for deliverance from the trial? Sure you can. Remember when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane? He went before the Father and He said, "If it is at all possible, let this cup pass from me." And in that instance, the Father said, "No, you got to drink the cup." And He said, "Okay, I will drink the cup because it's your will, not my will being done." So when we ask for deliverance, we also need to be submissive to His will. So when we go through a trial, we need wisdom. And God really wants to give us wisdom. But listen, if you aren't willing to listen and follow through, don't bother to ask. Notice what James says. When you ask in faith, believe and don't doubt. Let me give you a lesson in faith. Faith is not the exercise of positive thinking. Faith is obedience. Now let me give you a definition of faith. You ought to write it down if you can. Carry it with you until it sinks in. Faith is trusting God enough so I do what He says, even if I don't think it will work. Let me repeat that. Faith is trusting God enough so I do as He says, even if I don't think it will work. So if I ask God to give me wisdom and God responds, true faith doesn't go out and get a second opinion. So before you ask for wisdom, decide that you're going to do what He says. You know, there's something that God doesn't do. God doesn't do consulting work. If God says jump, I ask how high on my way up. A consultant comes to my house, tells me what he thinks I should do. I write him a check for his services. Then I go and do what I think is best. Why? Because his advice is simply one from a consultant. God doesn't give me just His opinion. So before you ask God for wisdom, ask knowing you obey. God isn't a consultant. He's God.